Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? It is Kristi. It is Sunday, and that means it is time for Social Science Sunday. I'm having a bad day and everything's running late, so we're going to do this quickly and get it over with. So today what we're going to do is we're going to discuss an approach to doing textual analysis. Hold on a second. My computer's also really I've done a new setup and... Okay, hold on. All right, hopefully you can hear me now, and this will work as I turn my head away, because I'm going to be doing that a lot. Right, so I'm just going to give you a homework assignment, because I have actually something going on today, and I only have 30 minutes, so let us get into this. I also didn't have a chance to put in the proper chat button, for which I apologize. Again, stress. So let's just have fun and talk about discourse analysis. All right, let's do that. When we left off in our session last week, we were looking at analysis of talk and text. And the reason that we're doing this is because from a perspective of a construction, that society and power structures, the way our morals and values or whatever are constructed by humans, and we use language in order to communicate these things, and the language is loaded. It's got meanings attached to it, or the meanings can change depending on what type of context in which a term is used or a word is used. I am trying to figure out what happened to my studio mode. There we go. Excellent. All right, now I can see what y'all are seeing. And we're going to, and that's all very good and abstract. We understand the logic. Hopefully we understand the logic of what we're discussing here. But it is always more illuminating to see how something... You also had a bad day, DN fans? Yeah. Like hugs to us. Come on, bring it in. Oh, group hug. Oh, that feels good. All right, cool. All right, it's a very safe and fully voluntary participation in our... I can't. How do I put this on here? Oh, okay. I can't. Never mind. I'll see if I can put your comments in and manage this while I also manage to talk and keep a different stream of thought going. What we're going to do now is apply what we're using to the real world, because at this point we've only really discussed it in terms of abstractions. Right, we understand the principles that society is socially constructed. We understand the idea that language is hugely important for creating what the boundaries of language is. Hey, look at me going. And now we're going to take those abstract principles and look at them within the context of something real. All right, so someone was saying, so sorry you also had a bad day. Hi, let's see, let's just go through who's here first and then we'll start. Last I was here, I was using my name. Oi, oi. So DN says, I'm here, bit disappointed the store didn't have green apple mics. Oh, sorry to hear that. Angus, hi. Kristi in chat just finished writing up about the methodology of discourse analysis. Brilliant. So I'm going to do, just so you know, Angus, we're doing a very DA light. So we're just going to take, because discourse analysis is incredibly detailed and very deep, very philosophical. Very, you have to understand linguistics and things, but we're going to do baby intro to discourse analysis. So you can sit back and watch that. But here is your assignment for next week, because what I would like to do next week, and by the way, this lecture is only going to go for the next 23 minutes, is to use the Discord to have you all call in or write up your comments, whichever you prefer. And I could think about updating the Discourse link for the group right now. But again, I'm in the middle of a stream, so I probably should have done that beforehand rather than in the middle of it. But your homework assignment for next week is to note down, or I'll put a link in with these questions into the group Discord, which I'm doing right now. So let's have a look at that. You don't have to see me doing that, but I will do it. In the Social Science Sunday, I will give you the link to the lecture notes, which have both the questions, the structures for analysis, and a link to the video. By way of example, we're going to do a little smidgen of the video today, not to give answers, but to show how to ask questions, if that makes sense. Because knowing how to ask questions is important. we're going to look at this clip, a date with your family. If the embed doesn't work, here's the link on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, did I say yeah, I meant in Discord. What did I say? Again, I'm trying to multitask here. So we're going to watch a little bit of this video and ask here. Yes. 1, how is this piece of communication, language, being used to make certain things significant? And how is it showing, maybe it's limiting some things. Maybe there are things that are not significant, but it's not saying this is not significant. It shows it's not significant by omitting it. Right? So what is there and what is also missing? Because seeing what is missing is difficult. People tend to focus on, the positive side of things, not the gaps, because it's easier to see something than to notice something is missing. What activities, social activities or power structures are being enacted in this use of language? Another question you can ask are, what kinds of identities are being used by language or being enacted by language? And what are the dimensions? What are the boundaries? What are the permissions of, I was saying discourse instead of Discord. What are the identities being used to enact here? Whose roles, right? Who are given roles? And what are those roles obtain, what do those roles contain within them? And what are the limits that are placed on people by being put into a role? Relationships, obviously, power relationships and others are a common feature of social structures. So be very clear in what is the intention behind this? What are the assumptions about the relationships that is going on here? And what worldview is here on the social good? What does it mean to be good, right, correct, moral in this framework? And again, this is sort of like looking for what's not there. Who is maybe excluded from the structure of what is good, all right? Let's have you don't have to talk to your family. No, it's a video we're going to watch, right? It is an old school video, super, super old school video. This was made, I'm sure, in the 1950s. Yeah, 1950, right? And it's Creative Commons license, so I shouldn't have any problems on YouTube with this. Now, let's just stop for a moment before we jump into anything and think, what sort of world was this movie produced in? 1, it was produced in a particular time period, smack dab in the middle of the 20th century. It takes place in America, so obviously it's going to be having a English language, Western culture that it's drawing upon. 1950s is before the Civil Rights Movement, so this was produced in segregated America, where the white population was actively oppressing, marginalizing, and terrorizing Black Americans. So who is this content being created for? And also, who is it meant to exclude? We'll see in a second. The other thing is that 1950s is pre-second wave feminism. So women have the right to vote. They can own some level of property. They can't have bank accounts in their own names yet. They have sex-based job applications in the newspaper. So women are basically shunted into certain types of jobs that they are told to apply for, and they are implicitly excluded from jobs listed in the men's sections. And as well, they don't have any reproductive control over their bodies yet because we've not had Roe v. Wade and we don't have a reliable form of contraception. Knowing this, so what kind of framework are the authors of this piece working within? And what things do they show are significant? What identities are created? And so forth, right? So we're going to just look at the first few seconds of this, and that means I'm going to have to put my headphones on. Oh, I'll mute my mic before I plug in so it's not so loud for you. Okay, there we go. Now, I hope this is going to work. I might have to, oh no, it's going to come from the wrong speakers, so I have to change where the audio is located. All right, let's listen to this kind of silly video. And why isn't my mouse for some reason? Oh, there you are. Sometimes it's hard to find. Sometimes my mouse gets away from me. Yeah, so, yeah, that'll work in terms of the frame. Brilliant. Okay, let's see if this audio plays? And if so, oh, no, I might have the desktop audio muted still. I did. Okay, let's hope this isn't going to blow y'all out. I don't see that coming through. Hold on one second. Although, to be fair, it is a little bit difficult to see properties. Wrong okay. Elgato wave is where the audio should be coming out. All right, let's try this one more time. Yeah, now you can hear it. Excellent. Look at me go. I'm doing audio technical troubleshooting in the middle of a live stream. Oh, I can tap my stomach and rub my eye. Actually, I can if I practice, but not right now. All right, let's go. A little soft, I think. Turn it up a bit. All right, first, that intro is so long by comparison of today's standards. All right. Okay, let's get back.
This boy and girl coming home from school look quite content with life. And why not? They're looking forward to an important date, dinner at home with the family. What's the matter? Doesn't that sound exciting to you? Well, to them it's a special occasion, as it has been ever since they sat down to dinner in high chairs.
All right, already we can start to reflect on some of the identities that they are creating and also who is being counted here. Maybe in a Ren and Stimpy episode, you've heard that DNF. And one thing is that it's boy and girl. They don't have names. They are just boy and girl. They are meant to be a universal placeholder for everyone who watches this educational clip, right? This is meant to be published in schools. So we see here that white bodies are assumed to be the given, normal, right? That again, this is just the white supremacist worldview of this time period. People who had the money and the power were incredibly racist. It's just, it's irrefutable. And so by having this be boy and girl, what you're doing is excluding everyone who doesn't look like this boy and girl, because you are now an aberration. So here's how an identity is created to be inclusive of the oppressor group, right? The whites who are terrorizing Black Americans and every other group. I don't want to just say that there's a lot of racism against Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans as well. So, but yeah, let's just think about how that plays out as we continue.
Why should they feel that way about something you take so completely for granted?
All right, so there's also a real moralism going on here. It's assuming that the audience of children who are watching this don't value time with dinner with their family. And by this dinner time, you have to have certain amount of material resources to be able to do this, correct? So the idea of someone having dinner waiting for you when you walk in the house assumes that, don't think this is controversial, you would need a two-parent family where the white mom stays at home. Well, what do you do if after the Second World War, your parent died in the war? Or your parent died for another reason, or your mom has to work outside the house. You are again placed on the outside of this normality structure. And the gap between what you are presented as normal, good, and ideal, and your own life, it's about getting you to want to conform to these ideals and to feel like an outsider. So the way that this is framed is got a very narrow, racially exclusive structure as to what a good family looks like.
Well, let's see if we can find out. First of all, daughter has changed from school clothes to something more festive.
All right, so you can already see here about identities being enacted. Girl becomes daughter, and she is presented as doing domestic work. Why? Because in the for most of human history, I'm just going to speak to Western culture here, although I don't think this is different anywhere else. But basically, misogyny is rampant in any large civilization with a power structure. And in this case, they are trying to model this idea that women's ideal role is unpaid, unvalued labor. Women's self-negation in terms of putting everyone else in front of their needs and wants and desires and best interests is what women should do and what girls should do. And we need to train our girls immediately to be uncomplaining, unpaid domestic servants. And then when they're old enough, they provide sex. And then when they get pregnant, they provide free childcare. Right? This is the worldview of that they are saying is good and normal and right. Okay, so let's contrast daughters' roles with brothers' roles or sons' roles.
Dressing a little makes her feel and consequently look more charming.
Emphasis is placed on her looks. Women aren't valued and girls aren't valued for what's between their legs. It's how much reaction they can get from a man between his legs, or between her ears, sorry. They aren't valuing girls or women based on what's between their ears. They're valuing them on what men think of what's, how they react to them between men's legs. In a cis-binary, in a heteronormative, very gender binary worldview, because again, this is a very oppressive time period.
Even the table takes on a special air. Mother, too, changes from her daytime clothes. The women of this family seem to feel that they owe it to the men of the family to look relaxed, rested, and attractive at dinner time.
Who cares what the women feel, right? It doesn't matter what kind of day they had. It doesn't matter their emotional state or mental health. Their jobs are there to make men happy. That's it. Okay, so you can see what's being made significant here and the types of identities that are being enacted. What were some of the other questions? Social goods. What's normal, right, and correct? What are the relationships that are being enacted here? Is there anything about mutual respect? Or is it about servants and the gratitude of those they serve? And in what way is this, what kind of, what is the ultimate aim of this piece, right? It's to basically domesticate women and teach girls and teach boys and men how to be, property owners, human traffickers, how to use women's labor, how to use girls' labor to their benefit. And not only how to use it, but to expect it. That unpaid labor is not something, it's not valuable and it's not worthy of acknowledgement because it's done by women. Same activities done by men, being a chef, is highly rewarded. But when you do it in the household as a wife or as a mother, that's just your job. Like, no one has to say thank you to that. So we're going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to wrap it up because, like I said, I got to go at the bottom of the hour. But we'll talk a little bit about how to do the discussion in Discord before we leave, and then also what we'll do to discuss this as a group. Maybe we'll do a Discord call just quickly at the end of the show. A little bit more, I want to do a contrast with the women's roles and the girls' role, the woman's role and the girl's role, in contrast to what the boys of the family are doing while the women of the family are preparing for the meal and preparing for themselves to be visually pleasing for the men of their house. Weird.
Brother is spending an hour before dinner catching up on his homework.
Because you see, education for men is important, but when daughter gets home, her first responsibility is domestic service. It's not to her education, because her education really is only of benefit to her husband for making sure that she can manage the house properly, and start to educate the kids. It's not education is valuable because it will enrich her. It's women and girls are educated, girls and women are educated in order to better serve men. Right?
He has plans evening. Perhaps that explains the telephone call.
All right, so yeah, he's just basically like someone's setting the table. Mom's downstairs doing work, and he's just focused on himself and his social life. And that's good and normal and proper, and that's part of his identity. Because to do women's work would be degrading. All right, I think you can get a sense of like how to take these questions from Guy. We'll review them one more time, the categories. Significant or not, what activities are being enacted, what identities are being enacted, what relationships are being enacted, and what social goods are being communicated. All right. Also, how does this piece of writing connect or disconnect? Sorry, there's another slide. Disconnect things. Like how, like for instance, girls and women are being put together with making men happy. This is a way you can like really examine the intention of the language being used here. And how does this piece of language privilege or disprivilege specific sign systems? In this case, it's patriarchy, I would say, that this, I don't know, like sign systems is probably in something linguistics. Here we're talking about English, Spanish, different ways of knowing, believing, claims to believe, whatever. But in terms of privileging, what you definitely see here is white privilege, if you want to look at it this way. You see male privilege. And yeah, I think that those are both pretty comprehensive for what we've seen so far. So this is your homework assignment. Make notes on these, I think there's 7 significant activities, identities, relationships, social good, connections, and privilege. Yep, 7 different frameworks of analysis, ways to draw your attention to specific social performative works in this video, and make a note of it. The other thing I wanted to talk just before we leave, got 4 minutes left, or 5 minutes left, is how to communicate this in our next lecture. And I'm hoping, I don't know how people would feel about doing a Discord call-in, or maybe I can drop a Meet Google and people can jump in. And I'd like to go through, we can have a little discussion, maybe timestamps. If you want to talk about it, we can discuss the overall discussion of what the aims of the piece were, because what is it, like a 10-minute video or something? I don't know if it would be a good idea to... Ugh, my mouse is being annoying today. What is this in length? Come on, show me the length. Ugh, why can't I see how long it is? Yeah, just about 10 minutes. Yeah, 9:56. I don't know if it's worth it watching it on stream or not. Maybe it is. We can have a discussion about that. But yeah, that's your homework assignment, is to take Guy's principles of discourse analysis, to watch this video, and through using the different frameworks, evaluate various elements of norms, values, and social goods in this very anachronistic piece of history. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed this. I look forward to checking out what your reactions are in the Discord. And yes, as long as I'm here, why don't I can also I'll do another link because we have a little bit of time yet. Now, the question is, invite people. Add an image. No, invite people. Where's just the general link? Hidden use copy button? Okay. I don't know what that's all about. Is it going to work if I post it in here? Maybe not. I'll tell you what. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Anyway, I'll go figure it out online. I have so many things going on today. So I hope you are happy, safe, and well wherever it is, whenever it is you are. Until the next Sunday when we have time to spend together. I have been Kristi. You've been awesome. Yeah, and I'll see you again in not too long. Stay happy, and well wherever it is, whenever it is you are.